My prayer is that God may restore His power in the church. My prayer is that we may all arise to believe God and believe the word. Where is the generation of men and women who walked on earth with power? I am not even talking about those who are reported in the volume of the scriptures. I'm talking about men and women like T.L. Osborne. This man who believed God. The way the Westerners believe and the Easterners believe are often different. If you will ask a Westerner who is God, you will be impressed. He will tell you names you do not know, and he probably does not have a clue. He is Jehovah Ra. He is Chikenu. He is El Elyon. He is Mekadikishen. He is Almighty. That's a Westerner. But if you go to the Easterners and you say, who is God? They'll tell you is the bread of life. They are practical. They want the tangible. Who is God? Is the living water. Is my shepherd. Spare me the Hebrew. Spare me the Greek. I want to know him as the one who feeds me. He's my bread of life. He's the living water. He's the lily of my valley. He's my bright morning star. And Osborne, T.L. Osborne, when he went to India to minister, he came with big words. Nobody listened. He spoke his theological knowledge. From morning till evening, he had no impact. He went back home and he prayed for 3 days, believing the word. God said, go back. This time, leave your theology in your bag. Go and present me with the power of the living God. Through the demonstration of the power of God, T.L. Osborne shook the mission. Where are men and women like him, who walked on earth believing the word of God, believing the Bible as the absolute truth? Where are those men and women like this young man in 1909, William Marion Branham? He was known as a faith healer. He went places demonstrating the raw, undiluted power of God. His secret was one: his faith on the word of God. Where are those of the like of John G. Lake? It is said that in 1908, John Graham G. Lake, a Canadian American who was known by his faith, they called him also a faith healer. He went about establishing churches and establishing what they call healing rooms. Today we have a healing bay. He did not start now. He had healing rooms all over. And in 1908, he came to South Africa. The enemy stood against him. 6 months of arrival in South Africa for the mission. It is said that John G. Lake lost his wife. The wife died of a stroke. You the healer. You heal people. Your wife falling dead. But he was undeterred. John G. Lake went on and established the AFM, Apostolic Faith Mission. With the power of God, he had healing rooms all across Johannesburg, all across the country. That's why today I call on everyone from the Apostolic Faith Mission, every man and every woman of the AFM, do not turn your back on the legacy of John G. Lake. John G. Lake has been accused. There were so many allegations against his ministry. They say he staged his miracles. They say he had planted people to be healed. Just like we see today, the same old trick of the enemy, discrediting the virtue of God. But it was undeterred. Today, the AFM church is all over the continent, because somebody decided, I will go. In 5 years, he shook the nation. He could have not done that with theology. He could have only done that through the power of the living God. They interviewed John G. Lake, and he said, I emulate after a man who has influenced my ministry, John Alexander Dowie. John Alexander Dowie, a Scottish man who served God, preaching the gospel in Australia and in America. A crazy fellow. He believed everything God said. If God said you shall lay hands on the sick, they shall recover. John Alexander Dowie did just that. He laid hands on the sick and they recovered. Where are those men and women of the like of John Alexander Dowie who gave birth to John Gillick? Where are those of the nature, the kind of faith like John Knox, who stood and prayed over England and he said to God, give me England or I die? An intercessor established, a man of great power. He said to God, give me England or I die. In his time, the fire of God came from England. Missionaries went all across the globe. But today the legacy of John Knox is gone. There is no flame of fire in England anymore, because those who are supposed to be fire carriers have been persecuted. They have been intimidated. They have been undermined. They have been subjected to conform to the pattern of this world. They have submitted. England today, the few that still carry the fire of God go through all kind of things, but yet that land had the kind of John Knox. The Queen of Scotland said, I fear the prayers of John Knox more than all the armies of England. Where are those who believe God? Where are those who believe that in our time men can still walk on water? Where are those who believe that? Renard Bonnke and Africa shall be saved. From Lesotho, the Lord raised him up. Renard Bonnke, through his ministry and his simple faith on the word of God, millions of men and women across the continent came to give their life to Jesus. And Africa today is saved. Where are those who crazily will believe that God is above my mind? God is above the principle of our society. What I do not understand does not signal that God is not in it, because God is God. He's elevated above the circle of the earth. He has all things in his hand. They called his name the Shiloh. He's the Paraclete. Where are those of the like of Benson Idahosa, who today is a father to the Pentecostal movement in the continent? He believed God. He believed the word of God. If God says it, that was all he believed. There used to be a man in the central part of Africa, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Aidin Abal. Where are those of the likes of Aidin Abal? A man of crazy faith, a man with raw miracle. He was not as eloquent as you. He did not have to have PhDs to do his job. All he needed to have was the fire of God. The fire of God. May the fire of God come to you. In the name of